Hi everybody, I'm Robin from Talks from the Heart, and I'm going to talk to you today about journaling and the process of journaling. I do have a lot of notes on this, and it's been very much a project of care and love, and I want to put this video out with very thorough mindfulness. I know sometimes, a lot of times, my videos can be funny, and I am going to try to be upbeat about this. But I take journaling very seriously, and I have something that happened, an interaction with somebody that made me want to really make this video and get it out there. So I have a lot of notes, as I just said, and so I'm going to be looking down at my notes a lot. I also am going to take my glasses off just to decrease the glare. I don't much need to see if I'm clear on the screen. I hope that this is a good view for you. We're in my planner room, and setting up the camera where I'm looking at the camera can take some time, you guys. All right, I'm not dressed fancy. I'm no YouTube model, but I hope that you are gonna enjoy this video a lot. Okay, I had to grab Cooper. I love that boy so much, but I am so tired of his barking. All right, so I've got a couple questions for you. Do you currently journal, but it feels stale? Or do you want to journal and it feels like it's just too much? Or you see people showing their journal pages on social media. Sorry, I'm out of breath. And they're just these perfect, beautiful, full pages, no crossouts, no nothing. And you're like, saying to yourself, wow, that's really pretty. I could never do that. Or my life isn't that interesting and it would take a week just to fill a page. Because sometimes my life is very mundane, and I will write, and I'll write a couple of sentences and I'll be done for the day. And I always write till I'm full. That's what I call it. If you said yes to either of these questions, then this video might be for you. It might help you. If you're a journal person, have you ever experienced having a chat with somebody where they say, oh, I wish I could do that. I tried it once, it didn't work. It's not for me. And you're like, oh no, it's great. And you want to share your joy and how it's helped you. And they just give you this deer in headlights, and then the conversation just dies off and goes stale. Well, that happened to me. I started my new job and I met this amazing woman, and we were talking, and I mentioned journaling. And a lot of people journal for mental health, and I always encourage that. And so I said, oh, same thing. Oh, it's great. And she said, oh, no, I tried it. I don't know if I could do it. And then the conversation just died. So that's when the idea of this video dropped in my heart. And I've just been thinking about it for a couple of weeks and really just trying to get it all put together the way I want it to be presented. And so we're going to get into a little bit of my personal story. Since I was a child, I wanted to have that diary. I wanted to have the perfect pages. I can remember having, and I still have it in my basement, a little diary with the lock that swung over, and you had the little key, and it was really cute. And I remember a couple of years ago pulling it out, and it was Robin loves Darren, and Darren loves Robin, all the things. But I've always had it in my heart to be a journaler. And as I grew older, I kind of lost my passion for it for a number of reasons. One was fear of performance, fear that somebody would read it. And I'm going to address those issues here in this video, how I've dealt with them. And so I just kind of lost my way. And when my daughter was in 6th grade, I, walked into her room and she was journaling. And I said, oh, Olivia, I said, I didn't even know she journaled. I felt like a bad mom. And I said, oh, you journal? And she's like, yeah. And I go, oh, don't you ever worry about I was just enthralled with this 6th grader of mine, because I was like, I just walked in and saw her organically doing everything I had always wanted to do my whole life. And I said, how do you do it? How do you just let free on the page? Does it help you? And she's like, yeah. And she went into explaining to me how she writes like no one's reading. And that's where I got, I don't know if I'll be able to show it, the tattoo on my arm. because it set me free with the journaling process, or into the journaling process. And then she said, I don't worry about keeping them. She said, sometimes I keep them and sometimes I burn them. And I go, you do? I mean, I felt like I didn't know my child. And she's like, yeah, I go out to the fire pit. We had a fire pit at the time. And I go out to the fire pit and I just burn it and it's good to go. And she says, once it goes on the page, and she was 12, you guys. Once it goes on the page, sometimes it's gone, and it helps me. And I can honestly say that was about in 2012, and I've journaled ever since, that's been my experience too. Write like no one's reading. Once it goes on the page, I feel like it set me free a little bit. I use it for happy times, sad times. And I said, and we also have had and have a home where we respect each other's items. I think once, maybe not even once, I went into my son's room and looked around. I trusted my kids. I never burrowed through their stuff. My son and daughter, they never violated trust or space or anything like that. My husband was the same. We just had a house where it was like, that's your business and we respect that. So that was my breakthrough moment with journaling. And I really just encourage you to write like no one's reading. I really feel like as I was growing up too, I wanted to connect with how serene and peaceful I looked at journalers and the journaling process, and I wanted that. And I don't know if that's who I am now, because I journal mostly when I'm mad. And I think once you start journaling, or if you're a journaler, you'll be able to identify if you're a person that is a happy journaler or somebody who's angry and frustrated and mad and can write 15 pages and not blink. I think I'm more that. When I'm frustrated, mad, or have to work something out, I do it on paper, and it's just extremely helpful. So let's talk about, and again, I'm sorry if it sounds rehearsed, but it's really notes that I've put my heart and soul into. So let's talk about the unspoken rules that I've found to be true over the years when you first start to journal. The first one is, don't overcomplicate the process. I think this is super important. I think that it's kind of, okay, this is what keeps coming to my mind, is that I can remember in my 20s when I was first setting up a home, I would walk into my friend Dana's house, and she has a knack at decorating. She has a knack at just making a house feel homey. And she was also a couple of years ahead of me in the process of being married and having kids. And I'd walk in and then I'd go back to my 1-bedroom apartment, and I'd be like, everything just looks so stale and so boring. Don't try to get ahead of yourself with the journaling process. And don't think for 1 second that if you go out and buy an expensive notebook with expensive paper and a fountain pen and an expensive writing tool, that's going to fix you being stuck, or that's going to make you this master journaler. It's not. And I know, because I've tried it. Start with and this is why I have this simple notebook from the dollar store. Start with the simplest of notebooks. Maybe you already have one around. Maybe it's the ones you get for, I don't know if you do it anymore because I don't have kids in school, but when my kids were in school, the spiral notebooks from Mead, they were 10 cents, 10 for $1. Start with that and a ballpoint pen. If then you take off and you're good to go, I suggest you can go ahead and get something, and something more expensive. There's ways to make a cheap notebook be fun. I mean, I put stickers on the front and I have stickers on the pages. So there's ways to do fun things without spending a small fortune. And that way, if you were like, nope, yep, tried it, did it your way, doesn't work, then you haven't spent a small fortune. So don't overcomplicate the process. Let go of all your inhibitions. This is not like a tattoo, okay? If you write something down on the paper and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wrote that out loud. It's okay. If you don't want to leave it in the book, tear the page out, cross it out with a Sharpie. It's not permanent. It's not permanent. So you don't have to worry about that. If at some point you decide to shred it or discard it in some way or change your style, it's okay. You know, this is a growing process. You will develop the skill of journaling, and it will develop, I'm going to say it will develop to, I don't know what words I want to use. It will mold to who you are. You may look at my journals, which I would never show in public, but, and that's my choice. There's lots of people on YouTube that have done that. No way, I would never do that. But you know, it's going to mold to who you are, and you're going to be amazed at where it, how it develops. Some people choose to call their diaries or their journals a burn book because some people choose to burn it when it's full. I have not chosen to do that because at this point you know, they just go in a box and I don't revisit them. Some people reread them. I don't. Honestly, I've just probably have never chosen to do that because I just don't have time, or I choose not to have time. It's amazing how I decide, do I choose to have time to do that, or I just don't have time, because I can sit on my phone and scroll Instagram for a half an hour when I could have flipped through an old journal. So, you know, for me, I've just chosen not to take the time to reread my journals. A lot of it, I do 2 different kinds of journaling, which we'll get into in a little bit, but a lot of it is so emotional that it's like, I don't need to revisit that. So number 3, don't feel pressured to journal every day. I think that's a really big thing. You know, my age group watched the after school specials where the little girl would, every day after school, she'd journal, and it was this perfect 365-day journal with the little locket. Don't worry about it. Have it accessible. When you feel ready, when you have time, when you feel like you need that journal, it's there for you. It's not going anywhere. Sit down, and don't worry also about how long you journal during that journal period of time. You know, if you journal 5 minutes, like, okay, you know, you're really frustrated with your work, you can write 3 lines. I hate my boss, I hate my work, and I need a new job. Boom, you've got it on paper, you've journaled, you've done that process, and maybe that's all you need. I've been in situations where that's all I need. I just need poo, 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 poo. And there's been other times where I'm like, I come out of a writing trance and I'm like, whoa, what just happened? But I feel really cleansed. And I look back and I've journaled 15 pages, front and back. So, you know, it's going to be different every time. Don't put a restriction on yourself to journal every day. And number 4, I wrote, try not to perform on paper. This should be a private cleansing time between you and your journal. So don't worry about what you're writing. You know, there's the process morning pages from the Artist Way, I think. I don't know. I bought the book. Or no, I went to the bookstore and I skimmed it and it wasn't for me. But the morning pages, I have tried that 2 times and it has helped me a lot. And that's where you just sit down in the morning with your coffee right away. It's the first thing you do in the morning. And you grab your journal and you write 3 full pages. Well, first of all, I didn't like that I had to perform 3 full pages. I didn't like that. But I did like the fact that whatever, and it says whatever pops into your head is what you should write. So literally, I'd be like, I'm having my coffee. Oh, I forgot this yesterday. I mean, it wasn't even complete sentences. And when I felt like my brain was emptied, that's when I stopped. I didn't worry about the 3-page maximum or, you know, requirement. And it did help me. I couldn't believe all the junk that I was storing up in here that went to the paper. So try that. Don't overcomplicate the morning pages though. And if 3 pages seems like too much, try with 1. No big deal. That's another thing too. You know, if you tell me to write 3 pages, that could be like, you know, 100 words. And if you write super, super small, that could be 300 words. So I don't like it when people put like restrictions on things because we're all different and we all write completely different. So, you know, just you do you and don't worry about if anybody's reading it. And if you are worried about somebody reading your journals, then come up with a solution. Come up with a place that there's no way they would look and hide it there. Come up with, and also, you know, don't announce that you're starting to journal, because then if they're nosy and they're going to violate your privacy, you know, then you've already baited the hook on them. It's kind of like when you go on a diet and you announce it on, you know, you announce it and then on Monday you're caught eating a Snickers bar and everybody says, I thought you were on a diet, you know. Don't announce it. Just do it and keep it close to you if you're worried about somebody violating your privacy. You know, the other thing is I saw a safe once with a lock at Walmart for $35. You know, if you have to lock it in a safe, well, and if it's for your mental health and you're enjoying it and it's fun, then lock it in the safe. Go save up your money or go buy the safe and lock it away. And if they say, you know, why are you doing that? Say, because I can't trust you to not read my journal. It's not complicated. I know I'm stepping in it now, but I mean, there are solutions to that. And so think of the best solution that will work in your situation. So that was a long-winded way of saying that. All right, common things I hear from non-journalers. And if you're a journaler, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I've heard that one. I don't know what to write. How many people have told me that? I don't know what to write. And my answer to that in this video is there are different styles. There's a daily diary log where you just write what happened that day and it's just factual, boom, 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 just a list. There's morning pages, which I just talked about, where you just puke up on the paper and it doesn't matter if there's complete sentences or not. There's emotional journaling, which is what I do in my very private journal, where I just write whatever I'm feeling and I don't much care what's on the page. You know, so sometimes my kids frustrate me and it's not a situation where I want to share with them because it would not solve anything. It would just stir the pot and there's no reason for that. And so I work it through on my paper. And you can get journaling prompts on Etsy or you can get free ones online. Just put in Google free journaling prompts, print them out and just pick the ones that, you know, provoke you or stimulate you to write. I mean, I've done that. And then there's been things where I'm like, I can't relate to that. Like, they say, what was your favorite Disney ride? Well, I've never been to Disney, so I can't answer that. So I just skip over that. So don't worry about that. If you get journaling prompts where you're like, no, I can't relate to that. Just skip over it. And rate the day and then state why. You know, come up with a rating system and say today was a number 4. Why is it a number 4? And then write that out and, you know, see if that works. See if that helps you just get pen to paper and just find a peaceful, happy place with the journaling process. All the journals I see are this is an answer that non-journalers give me. All those journals I see are so pretty. I agree. I agree. You guys, mine, they're not pretty. They're not pretty at all. They're just scribbles. And sometimes if I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to say that, or I didn't want to say that, or I spelled that wrong, I just cross it out. I don't care. It's just for me. So I just wrote, try not to worry about works for somebody else. Just do you. This is for you and only you at this exact moment in time. And that's a lesson that I've had to learn and am still learning. I'm still learning that I matter, I'm important, and this piece of paper isn't going to be archived at the, you know, museum at the White House. I don't know if there's a museum at the White House, but you know what I mean? It's not going to be the holy grail of the country you live in. It's just for you at this moment in time, and God created you. That's my belief system, and you're important and you matter. So write and be okay with it. And remember, social media is a double-edged sword. Man, we all need to learn that. And you know, social media is so new in the world right now that we're just now discovering the positives and the negatives and navigating as humans through social media. And so I think it's really important to take a deep breath in, step back and say, okay, is this working for me or is this not? Because we all respond to that social media differently, all of us individually. And so I just want to read what I wrote, that posts are sometimes created to inspire us and sometimes to drive us to purchase. But for some reason, it has also taken on legs that have begun to make us feel less than. So you need to really find the healthy level for yourself when you see journals on social media. And I just think that's so, so important. I can't stress this enough. And if it bothers you, then stop looking at it. Just do your journal the way you want to. Okay. Also, you can pick, why did I write that? Okay. So you can pick a monthly theme. Say, January is how much you love that season, and all month write about that. For examples, I wrote some examples down in case you guys want to write these down. Childhood memories, describe your childhood home. Actual toys and songs that you remember. I remember we lived in a really peaceful cul-de-sac until this neighbor across the street, I think his name was Brad. He had 3 sons. Oh my gosh. And remember, I was in junior high and they were like toddlers to like kindergarten. And every Saturday morning, junior high, wanted to sleep in. His 3 boys would get out in the cul-de-sac and drive their big wheels. And if you're old enough to know what a big wheel is, it's this plastic tricycle low to the ground. God, I hate those things so bad. And the wheel is plastic, and when it would roll on the street, it didn't matter if it was blacktop or cement street, it would catch the rocks and create this sound. And I can remember every Saturday morning at like 7:05, out they go on their big wheels. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just one day could I sleep in? That's something that I could totally journal about. That actually would make me like cleanse that and then also laugh, because now I just laugh at it because it was so frustrating. And what are you going to do? So a childhood memory. One time I wrote my entire life out. I thought, I've never done that. And I started a kid, where I lived, all the houses I lived in. And then what happened when I graduated from high school, and I just wrote a chronological list of everything that happened. The cities I lived in, the jobs I held, all the way up to present. And it was just pages and pages, but I thought it was really cool. And it was fun to kind of kick back and memory keep on that level where it was just writing. And that was so much fun. And that's buried somewhere in one of my journals. You could write about family traditions. For instance, one of my favorite memories as a child was on Sunday nights. And now I look back and I think they did this to give my mom a break from cooking. But on Sunday night, there was Wild Kingdom. Was it Wild Kingdom? Yeah, it was Wild Kingdom and Wonderful World of Disney. And it started at 6. Wild Kingdom was first. I liked it if they showed like baby animals, but when they would show icky stuff like, alligators eating stuff and all that, I didn't like it. But Wild Kingdom, why do I feel like there's more to that title? I was going to grab the bowl. Hold on one second. Okay, so Sunday nights, we would watch those 2 shows, and we would make one batch of popcorn for 5 people and apples. And we would have popcorn and apples while we watched those 2 shows. And this is the bowl. Literally 5 people, 2 adults and 3 children. And I was in junior high. And this is the bowl. I told my kids, if anything ever happens, grab this bowl. And because this is the thing I care about the most, you guys. It's a Texas ware. It's original. It has a number, 118. And it's made in Dallas, Texas. Oh my gosh. So the rim got burnt when my kids were little, and there's a crack right here. But I care about this bowl. And this, you guys, I kid you not, this 5 people, this bowl, and like, I don't know how many apples, but I'm going to say apples. And we would sit and watch this show. And that's a family tradition that I remember, that I love, and it brings a smile to my face. And now that I'm a mom, I realized that they probably did that because my mom needed a break from cooking supper. So on Sunday nights. So that is something that I could totally journal about. I think I will today, actually. And so if you see a style you're drawn to, then I wrote, if you see a style that you're drawn to, try it. Just give it a shot. What's it going to cost you? A couple pages in your journal. No big deal. Or just go slow and your own style will come naturally. That was actually what I was trying to say previous. I'm telling you, I get wordy. The other answer that I hear from non-journalers is, I don't have time. And we've addressed that. Just start out with 5 minutes. Don't worry about it taking up half your day. You're not there to you're not writing a journal for publication. So just see how things progress. Maybe on Sunday you have more time and you found your groove and you journal more on Sundays. Don't worry about it. That goes back to the rule 1. Don't overcomplicate this. If you remember nothing from this video, it's don't overcomplicate it. Just you do you. And then the others, I've got 2 more. And what if people find it and read it? We've addressed that. If this is a concern, try not to let that stop you, especially if you are trying journaling to support your mental health. I say lock it up, hide it, or carry it with you. If you have to carry it with you, there's small versions of little notebooks. Even that dollar one that I tried from Walmart. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's almost similar to this, and it's $1.39. Go to the Dollar Tree. They've got small ones too. And then, stick it in your book bag or whatever. Someplace where somebody won't grab it. This is a big one. This one I had to really process through, and it's when I die, I don't want people to read my journals. I've heard this so many times, and I get it. I totally understand. And I'm going to encourage you to come up with a destroy plan or a person to destroy them. I had a friend once tell me that if anything happens to me, go under the bed in my bedroom. There's a box, destroy it. Don't look in it. She trusted me to not look in it, which I would never, and destroy it. And I said, okay. I just nodded okay, because I knew the trust level that was coming from her to just ask me that. And so also look at it like this. You guys, it's true. You're dead. It doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, what better time to be free, or just tell someone you trust, don't read those, please just burn them. So don't let that stop you, because right now you're living and you need to live your best life. So please know I'm not trying to be callous, like that you're dead, but you get what I'm saying. Okay. So I know that I want to end. First of all, before we end, I'm going to show you just how I've been trying to take my own advice, and we're going to go tabletop for just a second, but I want to say I'm no therapist. These are my thoughts and things I've learned over the years. I mostly write during the times when I'm needing to vent, and mostly just love the pen to paper process so much. That's really what, after years and years of journaling, that's what I've come to know about myself. So I'm taking my own advice, and for the last couple of weeks, at least 3 weeks, I have tried this Dollar Tree notebook and a cheap pen, and just trying to keep it simple and take my own advice. Okay, before we go tabletop, then I also want to share that I really had to let go of my perfectionism problem with this, realizing that my journals, like I said, weren't going to be embossed and kept for all eternity for humankind to grasp knowledge from. Like literally, you guys, that's where my brain went, and all lined up consecutively on the shelf. No, they're literally different sizes, different notebooks, all thrown in a tub. When I'm done, and I throw them in a tub. I probably eventually, when it becomes too much, I have a lot of storage in my house. When it becomes too much, I'll have to deal with the piles. And at that point, my throat kind of closes up with anxiety, because I do at some point realize that I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them. I personally think if I have the option, I'll just leave them. I think that right now my kids have told me they're not interested in reading them. I think that would change if something ever happened to me. And, but I had this fantasy, that when I die, my 2 kids are going to slump over to a journal together and sob, and each need their own box of tissue, and, read each word carefully, and, oh, mother dear, and I had to let that go, because that's not what's going to happen. I don't know. I just know that whatever happens, happens, and that I'm enjoying the process right now. And it's really, really helped me a lot. It's really helped my mental health a lot. And it's giving me that moment in time that I'm showing myself that I'm important. So I'm just going to show you the Dollar Tree notebook and talk about cheap pens, and then I will let you go. I am trying to encourage you guys to just be you and enjoy your moment in time. So this is a Tomoe River paper journal that I used. Again, very, very pretty. And then this is one that I use for a daily log, and just absolutely enjoying the process. You don't need stickers, you guys, but if you like them, then add them. You can get cheap stickers at the dollar store too. So there are economical ways to do this. So this is literally a notebook from the Dollar Tree. It's an A5 size, and I put this sticky pocket in here. It is like a hard plastic. It's actually really, really nice hard plastic. So you can't see through it. And then they were very thoughtful when they made this, because this is not a journal that I'm going to show you the finished pages, but in here, this is the cover page, you guys. So they made it where you don't even have to, like, if somebody said, "What's this?" and they open up the cover, they'd be met with this. And you could even cover this with cardstock. I have tabs here to mark notes for videos. So this, I'm going to say, again, not trying to like make you uncomfortable if you're not a journaler, I'm going to call this a commonplace book for me right now. It's more than a journal. It's a place where I make lists, I journal, I make idea notes, I brainstorm. So again, you don't overcomplicate it, okay? In the middle, the very, very center, there is a sleeve here with a two-sided pocket, which I love. I haven't used it, but I love that it's there. And then it's just a piece of folded paper with pockets. So it's very, very cool. I'm going to tell you, the paper is pretty gritty. I tried a number of different pens, and here's a pen test, but here is also, hang on, here's a page where I pen tested all of the different pens that I wanted to use that I felt were, not cheaper versions, but just pens that I normally would gravitate towards. Okay, so there's a lot of pens that skipped. I actually ended on this one, and I didn't try this one. This one you can get it at Walmart for a pack of like 3 for like $4. And this has been really working for me. Okay. So again, didn't want to take a cheap notebook and then say, oh yeah, and I used my, $180 fountain pen. I wanted to take a cheap notebook and consistently use a pen that I found was reasonably priced, okay? So I then was excited to find this, a set of 3 from Five Below, and they were pretty. And I'm like, yay! And they were on clearance for $1, okay? Sometimes you get what you pay for, because I was using this one and it literally in my hand fell apart and the clicky thing flew somewhere and I don't know where it went. So again, this pen is okay. It's a regular ballpoint pen, and you do have to press a little hard if you don't want skipping, and you can see here that it kind of globs a little bit. So I'm just being straight with you. This is what I used. I used this one and I used this one probably equally over the course of 3 weeks. And I'm looking for a blank page. Here, I'll just go to the divider. And it was fine. You guys, I was fine. And I actually found a lot of freedom and just being able to journal without thinking about what fountain pen I was using that day or anything like that. So you can do it. I hope and pray, I do hope and pray, you guys, that this, if you're a non-journaler, has helped you to try it again or try it for the first time. And if you're a journaler and things have gotten stale, I gave you some ideas where you're like, oh yeah, cool, I want to try that. And you know, sometimes we have to go back to our roots. And I feel like this Dollar Tree notebook is going back to my roots for sure. Okay, I think that's about it, you guys. You're like, dear God, stop talking. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, because you don't want to miss what's coming up. And always enjoy today. Bye, everybody.